Hey guys! Today I have just uploaded the video that I filmed a couple of days ago about my college experience. I will link that in case you would like to see it. But today I'm going to be making a video sort of reflecting on some of my goals at the beginning of college and both how they've changed and how I've changed. So when I got to Bryn Mawr, I was trying to use this video camera again, and I actually had completely forgotten about this, but I filmed a couple of videos just sort of vlogging, I guess, my move-in process. I'm gonna post a few of those later because I think they're kind of cute. And also, I made this really weird, really long, rambly video in which I was just talking about my goals and my plans for college. And I found it, and I was astonished by what a fetus I looked like, first of all. But second of all, I was sort of interested by some of the things I said. I actually did achieve some of these goals, but I find it really interesting how much some of these goals have changed and how much my priorities in life were just really different than they were at the beginning of my first semester. So let's get right into it. Goal number 1. I mostly just want to focus on treating where I'm living right now, my dorm, as an actual home rather than just like a place that I'm staying, because I think on some level that's sort of how I've been treating both of my houses in the past. I also just kind of like being independent on a lot of levels. Like, I like doing things for myself. I like not feeling like other people are doing things for me, partially because I worry a lot that they're going to start resenting that. So this first one is more of an experience than a goal, but when I was going into college, I really, really wanted to both feel at home and feel independent, and it did not let me down. Living in a permanent location is honestly so great for how organized I am and how put together I am, and also just how much I feel like a real person. I just loved waking up and going to sleep in the same place every single night. I got so much more into making routines. I got so much more into taking care of myself, and that's something that'll come up later in the video. I also just really loved feeling like I wasn't a burden to anyone. When I was living at home, I struggled a lot with asking people for help and feeling like if I made a wrong move, immediately I would just be upsetting everyone. But in college, no one's really doing things for you, so you really learn to take charge of your own life and take care of yourself. And I know this isn't something that everyone is necessarily excited about for college, but I think once you get there, you actually end up really loving that and really enjoying it. Goal number 2. Oh God, some of my other goals are to try and figure out how to work super, super hard at things even when I'm not very good at them. Senior year English, I was killing it. Like, all of my writing classes, actually. I was really, really good, but I'm now in a college level writing class, and that's going to be a really different environment. And even though I know I'm a good writer, I want to be a great one. And I want to work really hard at that, and I want to focus on not getting discouraged by not being that good at first. This is the goal that actually made me want to do this video, because when I saw myself talking about this, I realized how much better I've gotten at that. Before college, partially because I was so terrified of asking for help, I just would work until I hit a wall on a project, and then I would shut down. I was not good at problem solving. I wasn't very confident in my ability to do it, and so I would get nervous, not do anything, rather than risk making a mistake. But in college, I've genuinely gotten so good at doing things, even if they end up being total crap at the end. I was shocked by the fact that I was actually pretty good at college writing, and I know everyone else is pretty shocked by that too. Honestly, I think a lot of this was that I leaned into my discomfort and really attempted to not procrastinate on things even when I didn't have as much experience. For example, I did a history paper during my first semester that required a lot of research, and research is something I've always kind of not struggled with, but found harder to start at. And for this paper, I just didn't let myself procrastinate. I spent like 7 hours on tripod the first day I got the paper assignment, and just that one step made me feel so much more confident with research. I'm working on an archaeology paper this semester, and I haven't really had that much trouble finding and looking for sources, even though sources on my topic are actually incredibly scant. Another example of this, which is not something I had been thinking about prior to college, is applying to jobs and working on resume building. I had a resume going into college, but I don't know if it was a very good one, and I really didn't have a cover letter drafted. But through this year, I've spent a lot of time working on both my resume and my cover letter and just trying to make them really, really good. I was also kind of intimidated by applying for jobs and internships because I worried that I wasn't going to be good enough or that people would laugh at my application, which I sort of decided this year doesn't really matter. This hasn't actually quite paid off yet with internships. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of things actually for maybe remote internships, but it has served me really well in the process of going out for various programs and awards, and I did an externship in San Francisco that I had to apply for, and I never would have done that prior to this year. Goal number 3. What else? I mean, I want to stay really organized and really clean and put together, but I'm actually not too worried about that. I'm someone who really enjoys being organized, and I think now that I'm in an environment where I genuinely can control a lot about the environment, I'll feel a lot better. Just the fact that I don't have to deal with like having 2 houses and having to switch things back and forth, which leaves me a lot more room to be organized. Who's vacuuming? This one was honestly more of a lifestyle goal, and it happened, but how well did it happen? That's a question for another day. I sort of talked about this in my other video, but frankly, I feel like I just wasn't prepared for the reality of the fact that I was going to have friends with me 24/7, and waking up early was not going to be a realistic thing that happened ever again when I could hang out with my friends till 11 p.m. But in general life stuff, I feel like I actually did pretty well. I did laundry on schedule most of the time. I kept my room pretty clean. It helped that me and my roommate are both kind of neat freaks. I feel like going into college, being organized is something that you definitely need to have experience at. And if you don't have experience at it, you're gonna need to pick it up pretty fast. Prior to college, I'd already been using a bullet journal and writing down all my homework assignments and writing down all my dates, so I didn't really find it that difficult to keep on top of things. It's not going to be as hard as you think it is, but it is going to be difficult at first. Goal number 4. So one of my other big goals is that I want to keep reading and read a ton because I really, really love reading, and I think this year I haven't been doing it as much, partially because my real life has actually been pretty stressful in various emotional ways, and college is obviously going to be stressful in scholastic ways, but I think I'm actually pretty equipped to handle that. Emotional stress is what really shuts me down and what really makes me stop being able to function like my best self. I think continuing to read this year is my only abject failure. I really didn't read at all through this year, and honestly, I feel like I don't even have an excuse. I just literally don't even have an excuse for that. That just is a thing that I did not do. I do think that this year I've branched out a lot in what I want to do and extracurriculars that I'm actually interested in. I did a lot of trying new things during this year, but now that I've had the experience branching out with everything, I feel like this is something I can come back to, and reading and my books are always going to be there for me. There are no time pressures on reading books, unless you get NetGalley-arcs. I also said something in here about being in a new place. I wasn't going to be experiencing that much emotional stress. Oh no. It's so false. It's so false. Even if you honestly were pretty stressed out in high school and you think that college isn't going to be that bad comparatively, there's still emotional stress that comes with it. When you've just moved away from your parents, you really learn a lot of new things about yourself, and a lot of new emotions get unlocked that you did not think you had. I went to college, and now that some parts of my life were less stressful, I could really experience feelings on a much more real level, which is really great in the long run and has been a really good experience for me. But it was also something I wasn't expecting and definitely made my emotional self go a little wild. I'm a double water sign and one of them's in my moon, as people would tell me at Bryn Mawr. The other thing is I've started to find it really funny how every single February and March of my life, things just go absolutely sideways. I've actually been looking back. I kind of want to like figure this all out because I really feel like just every February and March some weird things happen. Like the year I turned 14, I got my period and I had a sexuality crisis. It was in the same week. Last year, some really bad shit happened that we're not even gonna unpack right now. I remember when I was like 15, my life really kind of fell apart in like March. One of the most traumatic experiences of my life also happened in March of 6th grade. I tallied this up once and I've been sick on my birthday, which is March 6th, 4 times. Oh my god. What's the planet that's in retrograde there? Is it Mercury? I'm a bad gay person. Goal number 5. To just get better at taking care of myself in a consistent environment. One of those things, which I've already started doing, is taking care of my skin better, because that's always been a goal of mine. But it's just... point is that it's really, really hard to take care of your skin consistently. Because I just didn't have the money or frankly the will to buy separate versions for each house, and also just the way I was living my life was just very, very on the go all the time. So this was a goal essentially to take care of myself, and frankly I respect the old me so much for putting that on my list. I know it doesn't show because my skin is actually really bad right now, I think because of the stress of everything that's going on, but this year I actually took so much better care of my skin than I have in years past. I've had minor breakouts once or twice this year that I've had to contain, control, do shit with, but I've actually been washing my face consistently and it's made such a difference long term in my skin. So that's the end of the actual goals I had, but frankly, I thought these goals were so interesting because they're so far from what my priorities would be nowadays. I actually have a goal list now that is completely different. Are any of these even on there? Literally not a single one of these goals would have made it onto any goal list I made nowadays. My goal lists nowadays are so much more focused on the future past college and getting to a place where I'm ready for that. My goals now are also a lot more focused around making money, which is something that I valued a year ago but didn't value in quite the same way. Going into college, I didn't really know how I was going to feel academically about different things, and now that I've sort of figured that out a little bit more, a lot more of my goals are focused around getting credits out of the way or completing majors or I'm even trying to complete a minor, maybe, even though I'm also double majoring. I know someone who majored and then triple minored, so like, it could be done. No, I'm mostly just kidding. Or am I? I've also become focused a lot more around specifically journalistic writing. Obviously, I ran a blog for years, so I guess this isn't really a surprise in hindsight, but I joined the By College News second semester this year, and it really was such a good experience for me and something I'm a lot more passionate about than I think I realized. I'm currently writing part-time for her campus as well, and I'm also on the e-board of Nimbus magazine, as I mentioned in my last video, but honestly, just being published in small periodicals has become something I'm so interested in doing. I'd love to be a journalist when I grow up. I'd love to maybe be a freelance writer. I'd love to get into that scene in some kind of way. A year ago, I actually really thought I was maybe gonna go to law school, even a couple of months ago. I think I honestly wanted to like being a lawyer as an idea more than I actually liked being a lawyer as an idea. Honestly, it makes a lot of money, and I kind of loved the idea of having a career that I was passionate about that would also make me a lot of money. It never was my only priority. I think I just wanted to convince myself that I loved the idea of being a lawyer so that I could have a job that made that easy. And honestly, getting a job in journalism is really hard, so I almost didn't want it, but I think this is really what I love. And honestly, I know myself well enough to know I work my ass off. I will be able to achieve this if I really want it, and I really want it. I think I've changed in so many ways this year, and some of them are more material than others. Like my hair looks really different and my face looks really different. I think I just look different. I honestly think the biggest change in me as a college student is that I'm a lot more comfortable with myself and in my own skin. The light is getting way darker, it's fine. A year ago, I don't think I really knew it, but I was not confident enough to say what I deserved or to even express what I was feeling out loud. And this year I've really learned to do that. Sometimes through some painful ass experiences. But I found that speaking out and saying what I meant has always been the right thing in the long term, even though it didn't feel like the right thing in the short term. And I'm just really grateful for all of the people that I found who have made me feel so comfortable with myself. You know who you are, but, well, I hope you do. Thanks, if you're watching this. And it's not like I didn't have the opportunity to feel more comfortable with myself previously. I had some really close friends in my senior year of high school. Oh, that's another thing. You still talk to your high school friends in college. Everyone acted like I was not gonna be friends with my high school friends anymore. That's like, it hasn't been true at all for me. I guess if you have like 40 friends that you're trying to keep in touch with, but I was like, I'm gonna keep in touch with 4, and then maybe other people if they reach out to me, and like, that's worked fine for me. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Honestly, I feel like continuously putting yourself out there and doing things even if they scare you and doing a lot of things is such a self-confidence builder. I don't mean self-confidence in that cheesy like girl boss Instagram way. I mean self-confidence like you know that you're doing the best you can, and you know that if you have a moment where you're not doing the best, it's not a matter of you're a terrible person, it's a matter of time to get up and fix it. Self-confidence doesn't mean loving yourself at the expense of others. It means loving yourself and giving empathy to yourself when you do things wrong, but also recognizing that you can grow and change from those experiences rather than either living in shame or not acknowledging that you were wrong. And I think there have definitely been instances in my life where I've treated people not how they deserve or I've made mistakes, but I'd like to think that I'm in a place now where if those people ever confront me about that, I would say sorry and mean it. And yeah, I'm really happy that I've learned all of that this year. Thank you for watching if you watched to the end of this, and I hope you and your families are all doing as well as is possible given what's happening right now. I'm sending everyone a lot of love and a lot of good vibes for no one sick that you know, and a lot of staying in the house and baking bread, I guess. Thank you for watching again. Bye! This display thing that I'm not really using very well. That thing. I got that from the free box.